All right, so here's a warm-up for you to work on. It's just kind of reviewing some of our basics of equations. Go ahead, try these 3 problems on your own and pause the video. After you are finished with the 3 problems, turn the video back on and I'll go over the answers. All right, so this is probably going to be more challenging than I would like because I'm going to need to write on the screen. And there's not a whole lot of room to do that, but I think we can make it work. So I want to write an equation of a line. And so we know that our slope is 3 because m is 3 and it's going to pass through the point 3, 4. So 4 is going to be my y value. 3 is my slope. 3 is also my x value. And I'm looking for b. So 4 equals 9 plus b. We're going to subtract 9 from each side. And we're going to get that b equals negative 5. So now that we know that b equals negative 5, we can plug back into our slope-intercept form equation. So y equals 3x plus negative 5. Second one, this time we have to find the slope, so we need to do y minus y over x minus x. 1 minus negative 2. It's going to give me 6 over positive 3, which gives me a slope of 2. So plugging into my equation, 8 equals 2 times 1 plus b. So that's 2, so I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. And I get b equaling 6. So writing this as my final equation now, y equals 2x plus negative 6. And for the last one, the carnival charges an entrance fee. One person paid $27.50, 5 tickets. Another paid $45 and bought 12. So we have 2 ordered pairs, 12 and 45. We also have 5 tickets for $27.50. So we need to find our slope. So 45 minus 27 minus 27.50 over 12 minus 5. My pen's not working. 12 minus 5. Because we are talking about money, you can actually write your answer as a decimal, getting yourself a money amount. So my slope is actually going to be 2.5. So now I need to write my equation. And in order to write my equation, I'm going to come up here in this upper left-hand corner so I have enough room to be able to write. So you're going to pick one of your ordered pairs. I'm going to pick the 12 and 45 just because I don't want to deal with the decimals. No other reason. So 45 equals my slope of 2.5 times the 12 tickets plus b. The 2.5 times 12 will actually give me 30. 30 plus b. And it's going to equal 45. We'll subtract 30 from each side. Minus 30. And we get b equaling 15. I know, I'm writing all over this crazy thing. So, now that b is 15, our final equation is y equals 2.5x plus 15. But that's not my final answer because they want to know how much 22 tickets are going to cost. So we're going to plug 22 in everywhere we see x. 22 times 2.5 will give me 55 plus 15. So the cost of 22 tickets will be $70. And again, I know I wrote all over that. I do apologize. Unfortunately, it's very hard to write smaller on the iPad. This is actually the warm-up for the second day of this lesson, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. If you're not to the second day of the lesson or you don't need the second day of the lesson, feel free to just skip on, fast forward to the next point that you need. So here we're taking a Taekwondo class, costs $15 a month, plus a uniform. $108 after 6 months. We want to write an equation that gives the total cost in dollars as a function of the length of time you've been taking the class. Find the total cost after 9 months. So we know that for 6 months it cost $108. And it says $15 a month. So each and every month I have to pay $15. That is actually my slope value. The uniform is that one-time fee, which is going to be our B value or our y-intercept. So looking for my equation, so 108 equals 15 times 6 plus B. So 108 will equal 90 plus B. We're going to subtract 90 from each side. And we end up with B equaling 18. So my final equation is y equals 15x plus 18. And the 18 represents the cost of the uniform. Now they want how much will it cost after 9 months. So we're going to plug 9 in for x. So 15. So 15 times 9, there we go. Maybe. Plus 18. The total cost after 9 months would be $153. Whoopsie. So today we're going to start looking at a different format for writing equations. So far everything we've looked at has been slope-intercept form. Now we're going to look at a different type known as point-slope form. All of the different types of equations that we look at are going to have pros and cons, pluses and minuses for why you might choose one version over the other. Okay, so we're going to spend 2 days talking about point-slope form. So first, the basics. I want to write an equation in point-slope form of the line that passes through the following point. The formula for point-slope form is y minus y equals m parenthesis x minus x. It's known as point-slope form because the only thing you need in order to write the equation is a slope and a point. So in this particular problem, we have been given a slope of 2. And the point of 4, 3. So all we're going to do is plug it in. Remember, in our ordered pair, we have x and y. We always place in for the second variable. So we're going to leave the first y. So it's going to be y minus a negative 3 equaling my slope of 2 parenthesis x, and we're going to take the second x out and put in, I need my eraser. It should be minus the positive 4. So it's going to be minus the positive 4. And then we're going to close the parenthesis. You'll notice that over here with the y, it's minus a negative. We're going to rewrite that nice and neatly as a positive. So y equals 2 times x minus 4. And this is the equation in point-slope form. You're not actually going to distribute it through the parentheses or anything else. And the reason why we do leave it this way is if you're given an equation in point-slope form, you should be able to pull out the slope, you should be able to pull out the ordered pair, and from there be able to graph or work with whatever you need out of the equation. So I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own. So go ahead and pause the video. When you think you have the answer, just turn the video back on and I'll go over it. So now that you've had a chance to work on it, so it's y minus y. Well, in this case, my y is 4. And that's going to equal my slope of -2. First x is a variable, and it's going to go minus and -1. And minus and -1 will actually give us +1. So y minus 4 equals -2 x plus 1. So now we want to look at the graph and graph an equation that is given in point slope form. First thing we have to do is we need to pull out our m, our slope, which in this case is 2/3. And we need to pull out the point that we were given. Now remember that the formula is y minus y. So that 3 must have been positive for it to stay x minus 3, because if it was negative, it would have turned positive. And same thing, this 2 must have started out as negative to be y minus a -2, which would have thereby made it positive. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plot our points. So we're going to put a dot at 3, -2. 3, -2. And now our slope says to go up 2 and over 3 to the right. So up 2 and over 3. I know this is not graphing the best on here, but I want you to be able to see the general idea. And our line would look something like that, tilted to go down through all 3 of the points. Again, here's one I'd like you to try on your own. So go ahead and pause the video, and when you're ready to go over the answers, we will certainly do that. Apparently my pen won't work at all now, so I might have to finish this with my finger, which should be interesting. So our slope is going to be -1 or -1/1, because that's the piece in front of the parenthesis. Our point is going to be +2, +1, because remember that subtraction sign comes with the original formula. So I'm going to put a dot at the point 2, 1, so over 2, up 1. Our slope is negative, so we're going to be coming down 1 and right 1. Actually, I think I might be a little more accurate right now with my finger. We're going to connect the dots and draw the line. The last type of problem we need to look at today is what if you're not given the slope? What if you're just given 2 points? And the easy answer to that is we need to find the slope first. We need to find m. So that's y minus y, so 3 minus 1. Because the 3 went first on the top, that -1 needs to go first on the bottom, making it -1 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. -1 minus 1 is -2. So that's going to give me a slope of -1, or -1/1. You can actually pick either of the points to plug in for your point slope form. So there's actually 2 correct right answers. You could have y minus 3 equaling -1 times x plus 1, or you could have y minus 1 equaling -1 times x minus 1. If we were to actually distribute through these parentheses and manipulate these equations back down to slope-intercept form, you would see that they do end up giving you the exact same equation. And on a quiz or a test, you would be able to use either of the 2 methods. Again, just like before, I'd like you to go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video as you need, and turn it back on when you're ready. So the first thing I'm going to do is find my slope, or m. So that's 4 minus 3 over 4 minus 2. It's going to give me 1/2 as my slope. Picking either of the points, so y minus 3 equals 1/2 times x minus 2, or y minus 4 equals 1/2 times x minus 4. And what's nice is when you have that slope as a fraction, in point slope form, we're not actually doing anything or working any math problems through with that slope. You're just plugging it in as the 1/2. So that is it for the first part of this lesson. It is a 2-day lesson. So if you're here for day 2, you just want to keep listening on. If you're only doing part 1 right now, then you are finished at this point. Your worksheet should be online if you do not already have it in front of you. All right, so here we go. We have a warm-up. So we're going to write an equation in point slope form. So this is going to be y minus 4 equals 2 parentheses x minus 1. And the second one would be y plus 2, because it's minus a negative, will equal negative 4 times x plus 1 again, because again, minus that negative 1. 3 DVDs for $5, and then $3 for each additional DVD. So that 3 is going to be our slope, $3 per DVD. So it's asked to write it in point slope form. So it's going to be y minus 5 equals 3 times x minus 3. And it wants to know now the cost of renting the 20 DVDs. 20 is your x value, y is your total cost. So I'm going to come up here in this top corner so I have some room. So y minus 5 equals 3 parentheses. It's going to be 20 minus 3. So that's going to be 3 times 17. 3 times 17 will give us 51. So y minus 5 will equal 51. We will add 5 to each side, and we will end up with y equaling $56 to rent 20 DVDs. So what we're looking at today is we're actually going to look at point slope word problems and pulling the information out of the word problems that we need in order to be able to write these problems and then find the total cost and all of that. There are 3 main types of word problems that are usually done in point slope form, and we're going to look at each and every one of them. So here we're looking at stickers to advertise for your band. They charge $225 for the first 1,000 stickers. Remember that money is almost always y, so it's going to be 1,000 and then the 225. Everything in this problem, though, is based on thousands of stickers. So what I can actually do is I can actually get rid of the 0 and make it 1, 225, as long as I remember that that 1 is actually an estimate for for thousands. And then it's $80 for each additional. So in point slope form, this is going to look like y minus 225 is going to equal my slope of 80. And then it's going to be x minus 1. And remember that that 1 represents our first 1,000 stickers. So now that we have it written as an equation, we're going to find the total cost of 9,000 stickers. Again, I'm just going to use 9 to make my numbers a little bit smaller. So y minus 225 equals 80 times 9 minus 1. So y minus 225 equals 80 times 8. So y minus 225 will equal 640. We will add 225 to each side. And we figure out that the cost for 9,000 stickers would be $865. The second type of problem deals with years. It's not really any more confusing than the first one. We just have to watch what we're pulling on the years. So the company increased by 10,000 per year. So that 10,000 is going to be our slope. In 1997, the annual sales were 97,000. So in 1997, the sales were 97,000. But 1997 is not our X value. Our X value is the number of years since when we started. So from 1994 to 1997 is going to give us an X value of 3 years. So in the 3 years that we have collected data on this information, it's $97,000. So now that I have my slope and I have my ordered pair, so y minus 97,000 will equal, it's 10,000 per year, times x minus 3. Wants us to find those sales in 2000. Just like before, our starting point was 1994. So from 1994 to 2000, that's 6 years we're going to be plugging in for that x value. Not 2000. So y minus 97,000 equals 10,000 times 6 minus 3. So y minus 97,000 will equal 10,000 times 3. So, and then that would give us 30,000. We'll add the 97,000 to each side with our 30,000. Now 30,000 plus our 97,000 would give us $127,000 that we would expect the company to be making in the year 2000 if they continue this increase of 10,000 per year. The last type we need to look at is a chart. And one of the things that's different with the chart is the chart says, can it be modeled by a linear equation? And to determine if something can be modeled by a linear equation, you need to find matching slopes. For our purposes, you need to find 2 matching slopes. So you need to pick different ordered pairs and find your slope twice. And if your slope matches, then you would write, yes, it is a linear function. So in this case, I'm going to use the 350 minus 250 over 6 minus 4. That's 100 over 2, which is 50. So now I need to do my slope again. This time I'm going to use the 8 and 450 and the 12 and 650. So 650 minus 450 over 12 minus 8. That's 200 over 4. Again, also 50. And then, so we would write, yes, this can be modeled by a linear function. And we want to write the equation that gives that cost. So you're writing the equation in point slope form. You have 5 ordered pairs to choose from. So technically there are 5 correct answers. So y minus 250 equals 50 times x minus 4. I do try my best and stay with the lower values for x and y. It just usually makes my problems a little bit nicer looking. So that's the end of the second day on point slope form. You do not have any official homework tonight. We will be doing a graded worksheet tomorrow in class strictly based on the word problems. So if you do have any questions on the word problems or how any of those got put together, please see me whenever you can.